the first thing that we need to do is just recognize where we are in this entrepreneurial journey, because outsourcing will provide solutions to some of the questions and problems that you have in growing your business. But those solutions will depend and vary based on where you're at in this evolutionary cycle. So I came up with this framework called the 4 stages of entrepreneurship. So I'll just briefly walk you through each of the stages, and I want you to go aha or recognize when you can see what stage that you're in. Stage 1, this startup entrepreneur, is someone who's just getting the business together, and typically they've got loads of ideas, lots of energy, and very little focus though, because they might be trying 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 different projects, and it's like they're digging, if you imagine metaphorically speaking, all of these little holes in a big field. They're digging really little holes, but they're never really going any very deep on any one particular idea. So they're starting lots of projects, but they're not really taking them through to completion. And these are the types of people that are trying to almost like please everyone. They're trying to be something to everyone, as opposed to getting a very clear target. One entrepreneur, you're often out there chasing the work, trying to win work and get a job, and then once you win it, you kind of forget about everything else and you start doing the work and you're trying to deliver to the client. And then once you finish delivering that particular project, then you start chasing the work again. In this initial stage of entrepreneurship, the biggest leverage point is you, because you're the one that's kind of getting in there and doing the work and getting it done. Now, for this stage 1 type of entrepreneur, you don't want to go out and get a huge VA team or a team of outsourcers to put on the payroll because you heard outsourcing was a great idea. What's most effective for this level 1 startup entrepreneur is just getting one assistant. Typically, it's just one VA who might be able to help out with the admin type tasks and tasks that keep you busy, that busy work. That's kind of stage 1. Then you've got the level 2 entrepreneur, which this is the person usually that's kind of now channeled into the actual business model that they're providing and what it is that they're offering to clients. They've got a suite of product that they're offering, and they're really trying to make the clients happy at this point in time. They're still doing all the work all the time, and it's a little bit of a case of swapping time for dollars at this point in time. This level 2 proven entrepreneur, I call them proven because they've now kind of mapped out a little bit more about their business. They've kind of got a bit of proof of concept, because level 1 entrepreneur is just trying all of these different things, whereas a level 2 entrepreneur has got a little bit more focus, but they're still stepping into all of the different roles. So they're hopping into marketing, they're hopping into fulfillment, finance, legal. They're a little bit of a jack of all trades, just doing what needs to be done. And at this point in time, the proven entrepreneur, for them to break through, and the solution that outsourcing can provide is starting to plug assistants or team members into specific roles within the business. Because a level 2 entrepreneur, you're typically delivering the same product or service, so you get benefit from training your team up and letting them handle some of the almost like repetitive work or reoccurring work that's core and fundamental to the business. Then you kind of shift into stage 3, which is more the systematic entrepreneur. So at this point, if you think about that projection or progression rather, stage 1, lots of ideas and very little focus, jumping from one opportunity to the next. The proven entrepreneur, as level 2, they're doing a little bit of everything, and they've kind of got a bit more focus and they know what they're offering, but they're still just doing everything. Level 3 entrepreneur, at this point, they've built up a bit of momentum. They've got this good lead flow coming into the business because they've got a few runs on the board. Maybe they've already got some good quality clients that have enabled them to collect testimonials, and they're starting to get referrals. Now, at this point in time, they often start to bring team members in. They recognize that they can't do everything themselves, but the issue here becomes it's almost like they've got this big to-do list of tasks that need to be done, and they just start assigning them out to different team members. And as the systematic entrepreneur starts to grow, maybe they've got a few different team members, and they're, on day one, they're listing out all of the to-do items for one of the assistants, and then they're moving on to the next assistant, listing out all of the to-do items that need to be done, and then they move on to the next assistant and list out all of the to-do items. And by that time that day's done, or the next day begins, they have to go back to assistant number one and list out a whole lot of new to-dos. But the problem at that point in time is that they don't get any work done themselves because they're too busy keeping all of the other team members busy. They're just jumping around and putting out problems. Now, the breakthrough for this level entrepreneur is when you start to systemize everything and duplicate and create systems and processes. And then the final level is level 4, the complete entrepreneur. And it's probably a little bit outside of the scope of what we'll talk about today, but that's when you start to see businesses as a collection and group of systems. And what you do is you spot the inefficient systems and then you look to improve them. And oftentimes that's when you're buying and selling businesses. But if you think about this 4 stages of entrepreneurship and think about where you are, because that will kind of give you some indications as to what outsourcing can provide as a solution for you. So stage 1, typically it's just about getting your first VA, someone to help out with the busy work. Stage 2 is all about starting to get team members that might end up being on the payroll, but you're getting them to do some core business tasks. And then stage 3 is all about growing the team, but then documenting the processes and procedures. So it is a linear progression, and it's important that you go through each of these few stages and you don't try and skip ahead, because if you do that, you kind of things kind of start breaking further down the line. So it's just recognize where you are. There's no right or wrong, and then just think about what you need to do to move to that next level.